Hello and welcome. I'm Allison McKeithen, Conference Manager at NMAC, and we're here for our virtual USCA Best Practices webinar. I'm joined today by my colleagues, Diane Ferguson, the Development Associate, and all things bookings for our USCHA this year, and also Wes Caldwell. He is our Director of Everything Recorded for USCHA this year. And thank you so much for joining us today. We have a lot of information to cover to make sure that you get all the details about doing your very best presentation at USCHA now that we've gone virtual. And thank you all for being here. So you may have received a few documents earlier, and one of them contained much of this PowerPoint presentation that we're going to show to you today, but we wanted to go through some other details just to make sure we get across very clearly what the needs and expectations are for USCHA as a presenter. In today's presentation, we'll go over the timeline, we'll talk about your presentation, and then we'll go over some best practices for recording. A quick overview of our timeline. A few of these have already happened. So of course, on August 14th, you all successfully accepted your workshop presentations. And today on the 19th is your best practices webinar. So congratulations for making it this far. And a few things we have up next are our August 26th schedule. So we look forward to sending out your presenting schedules and where you can book your presentations, and we'll go over that in a moment. On the 27th, we'll have a hands-on workshop. This workshop is very important as far as learning how to navigate through the platform and ensuring that everything you need for your recording is available and accessible to you, and that we're just doing our very best. And it's a lot of what we're going to learn today as well, but it's the real practical knowledge type of webinar. And then September 1st through the 30th is when you'll go through your recording. So we want to make sure that you get that schedule and that you'll start your recording as soon as possible. And once you, before you record, you'll upload your PowerPoint and your handouts to the Dropbox. And if you remember when I sent out this link, to this document, I mentioned that there's some live links in here. That is a live Dropbox link. So you can go back to this document, click on that link there and upload them right from this PowerPoint. So you don't need to look anywhere else for your links. So before we start, we mentioned that you're going to have a recording coming up, and a big part of that is being successful is having the proper support. And we're going to provide you with a workshop liaison, and this person will be assigned to you, and this person will help you through the entire recording process, as well as live on site during the USCHA. Their role is to send you reminders about your PowerPoint and handouts, to help you make sure that you upload them on time. They'll assist you through your rehearsal time frame. They'll manage the recording. They run your on-site USCHA presentation. They'll also help moderate your live Q&A. And so we'll assign those positions and those people to you. Has not happened yet. We look forward to having that information to you next week. And if you'd also like to volunteer for another workshop, not one that you're presenting, I am accepting volunteers for those positions. So feel free to contact me after this webinar and we'll get you signed up to be a liaison as well. And now I want to hand it over to Diane so she can give you some more information about the bookings process.
Hi, everybody. So happy that you all are here today. So regarding the scheduling of your recording, after this training, you will get a bookings link. You will work with your presenter to schedule a date that you are all available to practice, and then record the 45-minute presentation. As Allison mentioned, the recording period is from September 1st through the 30th, Monday through Friday from noon until 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. To book a recording time, click on this link and it will take you to our bookings area, and you can pick a date between September 1st and the 30th. Thank you, Allison. And we are still in the process, as Allison said, of gathering liaisons. So when you book your presentation, you can choose the liaison that you would like. and the time period that you would like. You include your name, your email, and your phone number. And any notes that you feel necessary, and click book. And there you are. You have a booking with us. I'm sorry. And then once you do that, please remember though that we are still in the process of gathering our liaisons. So please do not book until you receive a liaison and assign a liaison's name. And also, as Allison said, that we are also accepting volunteers for liaisons. So if you would like to volunteer, please email her after this session. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Diane. So we're going to keep moving. And next, we're going to talk about your workshop presentation and give you some helpful tips and insights to things that'll make your presentation pop in this virtual platform as we continue to go through this virtual process. It's all new to us, but we want to make sure that we do our very best. So I'm now going to hand it over to Wes Caldwell, our Director of All Things Recording. Wes?
Thank you so much, Allison. Appreciate everyone's time today. So again, my name is Wes Colwell, and I'm the video producer for this year's USCHA. So our job, as she said, is really to prepare you as best as possible to look as good as you can, sound as good as you can, because these webinars are going to be kind of what we call a one-take wonder, where once you hit record with your liaison, you're going to go through all of the entire presentation. So as we have mentioned, the workshops are 60 minutes each. We'll have 45 minutes of the live presentation. We'll get ready and then go to a 15-minute live Q&A. So the pre-recorded portion is going to be 45 minutes with you and your team, and then the 15 minutes will be live Q&A for your attendees in the conference room. We can move on, great. So to break this down, you have 45 minutes to cover kind of your abstract topic. What we want to do is be clear about your objectives and ensure those objectives are met. Think about how you'd be speaking to viewers in person. Everyone's kind of learning the new Zoom world, but as you're looking at the camera and working with your team, really think about how you want to connect with the viewers who are watching your workshop. It's eye contact, engagement, energy, smiles. That's all the things that we want to see in these pre-recorded presentations. As we look at the slides aspect, because we're virtual and you can't be with someone in person, we want to think about how to keep the slides to a minimum. People are going to be logging on to see and to hear you, and not just a bunch of slides. So while some graphics and visuals will be super helpful in your presentation, we want to kind of stay away from just slides on the screen for 45 minutes and think about ways to engage your viewers. While you're kind of doing your slides, it's important not just to read verbatim. We've all been to those live presentations where the people just read from the slides up on the screen. We want to avoid that because, in this new paradigm, it's really important to keep your audiences engaged and feel like you're really speaking to them one-on-one. Because again, we're all trying to figure out how this is going to work, but it's really important to keep eye contact, smiles, energy, engagement, and not just depend on the PowerPoint slides as much as possible. Handouts, of course, all presentations might have some more information that are really relevant to your viewers. We can do handouts, worksheets. There is a Dropbox folder, as Allison mentioned, to put up all your handouts and worksheets for your viewers of the workshop to have. And just make sure all your handouts are relevant and will be really enhancing your presentation for your viewers in their virtual workshop. Formatting. So Allison has done an amazing job to create a PowerPoint overall kind of formatting template for y'all. You'll be getting that if you haven't got it already, or you can click here to the presenter assets folder. This will be the entire deck, which will kind of be the title. It'll be the title page, your objectives, and it really does a very wonderful job of laying out how best to create your branded USCHA presentation deck. You'll see here as we move on to it and take a look. Here we go. So this will be your starting of the slide. We want every presentation to start with this title slide. This is, again, conference information. This is, the branding that we want to see consistently throughout the entire presentation. Your title page here, you'll update all these areas with your title, brief description of what your workshop is about, and then moving on to objectives. We want to really set up the expectations, each of these virtual webinars, so people know what they're expecting, and they know when they're in the right rooms, then they're ready to engage with your workshop. As you're doing formatting, keep in mind, we're going to be doing 16 by 9. The template that you'll get from this link is going to really take you step by step through that. 16 by 9. The one biggest thing we want to do is avoid video, animations, anything that's going to really take up a lot of bandwidth for these presentations. We want to make sure that the video stream is smooth. So try to stick to limited graphics and preferably no animations as we go forward and format these. All right, moving on. All right, so here's again some breaking down of how to make your graphics more relevant and laid out as possible. Any questions, feel free to reach out to us, but this is pretty straightforward how we want to really put that first engagement information out there so your workshop attendees know exactly what they're going to get and they're going to be engaged the entire time. The disclosure slide, of course, make sure you fill this out if you have any disclosures, and the contact slide, whatever you're most comfortable with in terms of how your attendees can contact you, perhaps during the conference or after the conference with some follow-up information. This is also a big deal we discussed in a meeting yesterday. So while this is a public live stream, we have to stay away from any type of music that would be copyrighted. Webinars shut down immediately once the algorithms pick up copyrighted music. That, and also no copyrighted imagery. This again is a public virtual live stream, and there have been lawsuits on this and fines for this for people using copyrighted material, anywhere from $500 to $1,500. So we request no copyrighted images in your presentation deck and no copyrighted music. I would actually just say no music if we can get around that. If there's something specific that you think would enhance your presentation, please contact us. We can talk through that. But ideally, no music and no copyrighted imagery. All right, so if you do have handouts for your presentation, again, think about that. Would it really engage the attendee? You can upload all your information here. This is a live link. You can start uploading immediately in terms of your handouts, your images, that kind of thing. You'll see here specs. If you are doing a PowerPoint, save the PDF name for your workshop and add PowerPoint. There are a lot of these workshops. We're going to do our best to keep track of everything, but it'll really help us out if you do name this specifically. So as you're going to be saving your stuff, please refer to this deck that Allison has sent out to you all to make sure that we're saving this in a very concise way, so us on the production side of things can find your presentation files very easily. Again, for your handouts, save as that PDF as your workshop and say handout 1, handout 2. So again, we know we can keep track and keep things very well organized on our end. It'll really help us out and it'll make you look great at the other side of things. All right. So we've got the overall the slide template. It's going to be pre-produced for you. So it really is just copying and pasting into the branded deck for you already. So we've kind of done half the work for you. Allison has anyways. Fonts, this is also important. We want to have consistency in all of our workshops. That's one of the biggest things that Paul is really asking us to help with, is that we have well-branded and very well consistent slide decks throughout all the presentations. So no font smaller than 18 point. And again, when you're using images and graphics, think about how it's going to enhance your presentation. And again, no copyrights, no copyrights, no copyrights. Can't stress that enough. All right, so moving on, recording on your workshop. So this is going to be probably the most vital part about having success with your workshop. We're all living in the Zoom world. Everyone's got different levels of understanding and technology abilities, but we're going to go through in terms of some best practices to make sure you look good and you sound good, to make sure, again, consistency was what we want across all these workshops. So we've created a virtual background for you. So again, we have that consistent branding and look through all the workshops. The background you're going to have, it's in your presenter assets Dropbox. This is a live link as well that you'll be getting in the deck. So please download that. It's the red quilt of USCHA background. And we got a lot of questions about what should we wear? What should we wear? We're looking for business work attire. Casual business work attire is best. For being on camera, no crazy patterns, no busy patterns that'll draw attention from you in your presentation. And of course, no logos or branded information, again, copyright stuff, right? Position your camera eye level as we are here. So I'm doing my best talking to this small little circle on my laptop, knowing that I'm speaking to each and every one of you. That's the engagement that we really want with this. And we'll go to the next slide about some best practices on how to do that. All right, well, we'll step backwards. Adding your backgrounds also, again, everyone has different understandings and technology work of Zoom. So here's a step-by-step. You'll get this in your deck as well. You'll launch Zoom on your computer. You'll see that cog, upper right-hand corner of your display, and you'll launch the settings menu. There you can do a virtual background in the left menu, and you'll choose where you've saved the USCHA quilt background on the icon, the little plus icon next to your visual background, and that'll update that right behind you. We're not on Zoom today, so we don't have that, but each and every one of you will have the graphic, and we encourage you to use that, again, for consistency across all the workshops. That's what we're going for this year. Again, the USCHA Prisoner Assets Dropbox is going to be your best friend for all this information, so click these live links. And again, any questions, please reach out and let us know. All right, looking your best, the most important, right? What we look like and how we present ourselves for these workshops will be the most important. So, of course, we all love the Zoom because it has that special, filter to make us look well rested, well hydrated, and ready to go. It's your option if you want to use it. But here are some steps to do. Again, it just kind of brightens the smile and the skin tone and makes everyone look great. So how you do that, of course, you go to Zoom settings, click on the video option in the left panel. Under my video, select the option to touch up my appearance. Not saying anyone needs it, but it's there if you'd like it. We want to put that as the offer. So that's some special feature that we'll have in our workshops this year. All right, for the recording, again, these are all things we've thought through as we vetted the last few weeks in terms of how to make you look and sound your best. Again, it's 45 minutes with a 45 minutes for the recording, and then when you're there, it'll be 15 minutes of live Q&A. Make sure you're comfortable. A comfortable seat's gonna make a big difference when you're sitting there for 45 minutes with your team. And again, this is a one-take wonder type of situation, so make sure you're comfortable. Make sure your laptop height is eye level. You can use boxes, you can use dishes, whatever you got around to make sure that you have that kind of really good eye level. You're not looking like this right to the camera. You want to make sure your laptop is plugged in. We don't want laptops dying in the middle of presentation because, again, this is a one-take situation. So count it as a live presentation even though we're recording it. Make sure your laptop is plugged in and it's got plenty of batteries. Another thing is silence. Make sure your phones are off. Make sure your pets are happy, fed, put away from a different area. Make sure your family understands that you're going to be doing a 45-minute chunk of recording. So just make sure your environment is quiet. Another thing is hydrate. 45 minutes is a long time to be chatting, whether you're doing a sole presentation or a panel. Make sure you have a glass of water and you're keeping hydrated for your voice. Because again, once we hit record, it's going to be straight through the 45 minutes. Another thing we found as we were kind of doing our trial here is keep your agenda close by to make sure you're staying on track. You're going to want to watch the time and making sure your agenda points are tracking with that so you don't get lost once you start the presentation. So we suggest keeping your agenda just to the side of your computer and really following it as you go along to make sure you're hitting all the sections that you planned. All right. Okay, so here's a sample agenda that we created for you. That'll be a really good guide of how to. And this is Allison's done a great job of putting this together. This is a really specific, of course, make this your own, but this is an example of how to really fine tune your agenda so you stay on time, stay on track, and everyone knows what's coming up. You'll see all the language here in terms of how to present, how to introduce. We've got really consistent text here. Things like introductions. We like to keep your introductions as close to this as possible. So again, we've got consistency across all of the workshops. So hi, my name is Wes Caldwell. I'm the executive producer of Studio Box, and today I'm going to be presenting about best practices in Zoom. Just simple things like that will keep us consistent through all of our workshops, and it'll go a long way of production value and making sure that we're all on the same page and presenting ourselves the best way possible. All right. Framing, another thing, a couple things here for recording setup. Lighting is very important for video recording, we want to make sure your light source is behind the camera facing towards you. I'm a little downlit right now because I'm in my my condo, but you want that front light. A window is a great option. People have got ring lights, but you want that light coming from behind the camera on you. You don't want light coming from behind you because you'll be a silhouette and we won't see your amazing faces. So just make sure the light source is coming towards your face behind the camera. And for framing, we're looking at about a 3/4, we call bust shot in the industry. So we want to make sure that you're framed just about here, great eye contact, looking right at camera. All right, this is a wonderful how-to video that Allison has put in the deck for you. So if you have any questions about how to set up, if we're not quite sure what you're doing, this is a great resource to really learn how to be well lit, well framed, look your best. Because again, these presentations, we want everyone looking and sounding their best. That's going to make it successful for this year's USCHA, which is of course all virtual. So make sure you watch this video if you have any questions about how to best set up. All right, so intro, this is back into the agenda as well. We really want to keep consistency in the beginning of these. Of course, every program is going to be different, every presentation is going to be different, but to start this off, we want to make sure people really understand what room they're in the right room, and they're connecting with the right presenter. So we're encouraging everyone to use this script for introductions. Very simple. Hi, welcome to the USCHA. This presentation is titled Best Practices in Zoom. I'm Wes Colwell, the executive producer of Studio Box. I'm also joined by our great panel today. So if we keep that consistency through all of our workshops, everyone will know exactly where they are when they're in the right room, and if not, they can find the right room if the presentation isn't quite what they're looking for. But yes, this is also included in your suggested agenda, which is in the live assets folder. That'll be in this deck as well. All right, so there's some really important things about recording. Again, this is a one-take situation, and so we want to make sure that you have the best preparation to make sure it's going to be seamless for the entire 45 minutes. The biggest thing is your internet connectivity. So right now, Zoom operates basically on everyone's home internet set up very well. You want to make sure that you are close to your router. If you're having issues with stream or for any kind of pixelation, we actually included a speed test for you, so you can make sure that your internet speed is going to be enough. You need a minimum of 1 megabytes per second for the Zoom recording, which is pretty standard for anybody that's going to be recording at home. But feel free to check out speedtest.net and actually do a test for your internet connection, and that'll tell you exactly if you need to make any adjustments before you're recording. Lighting, as we said, natural light is best. There are some really great ring packages, video lighting packages that people have picked up from Amazon, but I find a window right coming at you is just a nice, beautiful, natural light and makes you look great. Again, light should always be in front of you, behind the camera, coming at your face, never do behind you. As you know, you'll turn into a silhouette and we want to see those faces and eye contact right to camera. Before you get started, always do a test. So whether you're doing a solo presentation or you're doing it with a group of folks, get together, do a test your microphone, make sure your location is quiet. Again, pets, plus one, significant others, roommates, whatever it may be, make sure they know that you are going to be doing a live recording and that you need silence for 45 minutes to get through that, all right? Okay, your recording checklist. So make sure you log in at your pre-scheduled Zoom recording time, as looked at earlier in terms of your booking time with your liaison. Check your seating, make sure you're comfortable, make sure your laptop's adjusted to a height that feels good. Add your background. We want to see that wonderful quilt background with everyone's presentations. Check your lighting, whether it's daylight, whether it's your ring light, make sure it's plugged in if you're using artificial light or the battery's full charged. We don't want that turning off halfway through your presentation. Make sure you grab that glass of water, stay hydrated. It sounds kind of silly, but it actually really is important. If you get halfway through, got a tickle in your throat, you can't walk away. Pretend this is a live presentation and you're on stage in front of, how many people will be at the conference this year. Do the microphone check. Your liaison will take you through that to make sure you can be heard. Make sure before you start, check your connectivity and silence all of your devices, whether it's your Outlook chime of upcoming meetings or emails, whether it's your cell phone ding, whatever it may be, make sure all your devices are silenced and upload all your PowerPoints and handouts before this so we have access to them on our end as well. And again, that link is from the earlier in the slide deck that we're showing today. But bottom line is, eye contact, energy, people are here to see you and they really care about what you have to say. So really talk to them one-on-one and think about who that person you're going to be reaching with your workshop. great eye contact, great energy, smile, and keep that up for 45 minutes, and you will do great. All right, I'll pass this back to Allison, I believe, for the live Q&A section.
Great. Thank you, Wes. That was great information. I hope you all absorbed that. You have the slide deck again, so make sure you use all the resources within it to as you start preparing your PowerPoint presentations and your USCHA presentation and how to move forward. But now that you've recorded it, so you've done your pre-recorded session, now we're going to talk about the live portion and when you get actually into USCHA October 19th through the 21st and what you'll need to do to kind of do your best. All right, so going over these same things that Wes talked about earlier, I'll go through a little more quickly because we've already covered this, but you want to make sure you have your lighting like I do, just a little circle light. You want to make sure your camera angle is properly done. And you also just want to make sure you're in work attire and that you're dressed appropriately because you are representing your organization and yourself. You want to make sure that when people see this for however long it's going to be online, which is, in perpetuity, but in the platform, it'll be for at least a year. You want to make sure that you're looking your very best. So make sure you have your work attire on. And then you'll also have a live checklist. Same type of things. You want to make sure you check your seating, adjust your laptop height, add your quilted background, check your lighting. I have natural light. Hopefully it shows me well. Make sure you grab your glass of water for hydration. Check your microphone with your staff liaison. That's your workshop liaison that you'll be working with. And check your internet connectivity. So earlier when Wes said that you need 1 megabyte per second upload speed, for your live presentation, you'll need 2.5 megabyte speed download speed in order to get the best live connectivity possible. And that's very important because we want to make sure that people are not losing you during the presentation as you're answering questions, that you don't get pixelated or that your connection dies altogether. So you want to make sure you run that speedtest.net website, check your internet connectivity. It's very easy. And you'd be surprised how minimal that is, but it is very important to make sure it goes well. Silence all of your devices and check into your workshop link at least 10 minutes prior to the start of your scheduled live presentation. So if your workshop starts at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you want to make sure you check in at 1:50 p.m., get ready, and then at 2 o'clock, they'll hit that play button on your pre-recorded webinar. Turn on your mic and camera after that point, and you're ready to go. And so in the live portion, the way that you'll get your questions is through the chat function, similar to what we have here on GoToMeetings, but it'll be a Zoom chat. So people will continuously throughout the workshop presentation will have an opportunity to ask questions. You'll be there during the playback of the pre-recorded session, so you might have an opportunity to answer and respond to those questions in the live chat. And if not, no worries. Your liaison will be there after the presentation ends to ask those questions from the audience, and you'll have an opportunity to come on camera and respond to those questions. So that's pretty much how the format is going to go for our presentations and our workshops and in our institutes. If you're here for institutes are 1 hour of pre-recorded session time and a 30-minute question and answer period as well. Again, remember, you're the experts and you'll do great. People are here to see you. Smile, keep your energy up. And, I think you'll do a great job. I have all the confidence in the world in all of you. And thanks so much. So now we're going to open it up for questions. I know there are a lot of questions about what's going to happen next, how we're going to schedule these things. As Diane mentioned, you'll get an email once we schedule everyone a liaison so that you can go ahead and do your bookings. Once you book, you'll get a confirmation email, much like if you make a hair appointment, you'll get a confirmation email saying, hey, you booked with Allison for this time. Allison will then confirm that, yes, this booking time works, and then you can go ahead and put that on your calendar. So let's see. Chip, are there any questions in the audience?
Yes, there are. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Allison?
I can hear you.
Okay. So the first question we have is, while we are recording, can we say things like, feel free to drop your thoughts in the chat box to help foster a sense of this being live and not recorded?
Absolutely. I encourage that type of language to help ensure that some people are able to, they feel connected. If that's the way you want to feel connected and help the audience feel connected, absolutely ask them to drop those questions.
Okay. Next question, will we be able to invite team members who are not speakers to join the live Q&A portion to answer questions?
You can. It would make it a little more difficult since we don't have them on the pre-recorded session. So if they're not actual presenters, people may not know who they are. So I would say yes, you can invite them. Just find a good way to introduce them into the live Q&A.
Okay. This question, I believe, is related to the discussion about logos. So we want to know if they can wear program clothing. I would assume it means something that's includes the logo of a program or an organization or something to that effect of the presenter.
You are able to wear it as long as you have the copyright permissions to wear that logo. Absolutely go ahead and wear that logo.
I would really encourage that pronouns where people feel comfortable sharing also be included in everyone's introductions.
That's perfect. I encourage that as well. If you have specific pronouns that you go by, I'm Allison, she, hers. So I definitely encourage everyone to use their pronouns as appropriately.
Not sure if the platform was covered for both recording and Q&A. So I think someone's asking what the platform is.
So our platform for the conference is Communique. Communique is how we're going to introduce people into the conference. They have a lobby area, and then they'll go into a workshop, the breakouts room, the workshops room, and they'll see all your presentations listed there. The presentations are then linked into a live Zoom, which you'll get the live Zoom links as well. And you'll have that, that's where they'll come into your Zoom. So it'll be a couple of steps for them to get to your Zoom, but they'll see all the information far as your name and your presentation title, and then they'll be able to click to go right into your Zoom. I hope that answered the question.
During the recording session, will recording automatically be cut off at the 45-minute mark, or will the liaison give any indication of approaching the time limit?
They will not automatically cut off, but we will have a run-through period. So there'll be a rehearsal time frame within the recording session where you can go through your presentation and time out exactly how long your presentation is to kind of keep everybody on track, which is why we have that agenda. So in the practices, we'll mark those times, and if someone needs to kind of cut some information during the practice, then you'll know that you're running close to time once we get into the live presentation. But we will talk with the liaisons about how to appropriately speak to you about, time is getting close, so that you are all aware that, your time is ending. I mean, in most Zooms, they have the capability, excuse me, they have the capacity to send chat notifications to let people know that, time frames are running out, so they need to, move it along a little more.
Okay. Will you be emailing these slides, or should we have already received them?
You should have already received these slides. If you did not receive them personally, then please email me. I can send them out again. I want to make sure everyone has this content. My email is listed, amckeithan@mmac.org.
What if my organization requires use of their standard PowerPoint template? Can I use this, or at least for the title slide?
Yes.
Is this being recorded to rewatch? Yeah, this presentation is being recorded. It'll be available on the USCHA website tomorrow.
And I also want to make sure that everyone signs up for the hands-on workshop that we have going on next week on the 27th. That workshop is where we're going to do hands-on things. It's not going to be like go-to meeting. It's not just going to be me talking to you through a camera. I'm actually going to see your faces. We're going to really get into the weeds of making sure your speakers and your microphones are working, your cameras are working, your internet connectivity is working, because we want to make sure that everyone has all the resources they need to do their best presentation. So I encourage you all to come to that webinar and to that workshop. The live link was sent out to the actual webinar, so you can log in at that time. Join us, come prepared with your boxes to elevate your laptops, your light rings, come with everything prepared as if you're going to do your presentation. And we're going to do some test run throughs to make sure you all understand how to transition, how to swap presenters and so forth, and have the best and most seamless presentation possible. Chip, any more questions?
Yeah, someone has a date clarification. It says the hands-on training is listed on August 26th, and the email is August 27th.
Yeah, it's August 27th. I'll send out
Can we
correction.
request? Oh, sorry. Can we request a specific liaison?
You can. I can see if they're available, but I'm in need of liaison. So, but yeah, send me a request. I'll do my best.
Okay. At the moment, oh, sorry, I spoke too soon. Did you answer that I can use my organization's PowerPoint template instead of the USCHA template?
We would really like for you to use the USCHA template if at all possible, because it is USCHA conference. We're trying to do a lot of branding for our conference. But if it is copywritten information that is unable to be used on others' documents, or like if you're not able to share that information because it is copywritten and exclusive data to your organization, then you're absolutely able to use your organization slide for those particular slides.
Okay. At the moment, we don't have any further questions.
Okay. Well, hopefully you all have received some new and some fresh information and some resources. We are going to update that assets folder because we know some of you don't have a 3-person presenter type workshop. Sometimes you have a single presenter, sometimes you have panels. So we want to send out, we're going to add some agendas for you how to create your workshop around panels. So look for that information also to be added to the presenters assets folder. So please use that folder. Email me if you have any questions in the meantime. We're going to start sending out some letters about when your liaisons are assigned. Also, one key point that we are going to ask you all is to make sure that your PowerPoints are uploaded prior to your recorded session, prior to when you pre-record your session, because we need to make sure that we have all your slides properly laid out and make sure everything looks good before we go into our recorded session. So please upload your PowerPoints prior to the date that you are going to do your recorded session. Any other questions? Hopefully this was a good guide for you all. Chip, if there are no other questions, I want to say thank you to Diane for all her help with the bookings. Diane will be one of your contacts regarding the bookings with your liaisons. So she'll be available as well to answer some questions. And Wes Caldwell, you'll see his name a number of times throughout some emails as well, as we work on getting all of our presentations together and, you know, flossy and glossy for USCHA. So if no further questions out there, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. Thank you for attending. I really appreciate all of your hard work and your dedication to USCHA this year, especially in this virtual platform. It's new, it's different, it's scary, but we're gonna do our very best. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time again. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.